The guy I was teaching with, see, the thing with him, I would get up and teach at like 9:30 in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like 7 p.m. his time because he's in
Sure.
India. And
Sure.
that's what it would be with most of these. I'd have to pick a morning time.
Right.
And then, because most people that have asked for this have been either in Africa or the Middle East or India.
Wow.
I don't know whether I get any pickups from the U.S. or not. I haven't had anybody asking that from the U.S., even though I've got followers here. But
You
that
know,
may
I,
be one.
I wonder when you're getting that interest from India and Africa and the Middle East, to me, is it that they don't have access to a plethora of information like we do here in the US?
I think
Or
that's part of it. I think
yeah,
you got two things. There's they're hungry,
right,
because the
right,
U.S. has got so much. They're not hungry.
right.
I think they are much more deeply rooted, sincere individuals, maybe not
Yeah,
that much knowledgeable, but deeply rooted
right,
spiritually.
right, right.
So they're hungry, they want more. And I kind of, maybe I'm reading too much into it. When he said, I love your writing, I love your writings. He's been watching and following me. He joined, I went back and checked, he joined with me back about April. So he's
Okay,
been watching everything I put out since April, I'm assuming.
okay.
So he's getting a fair, balance of what I've done at this point in time. Um, but yeah, I think they're just spiritually hungry, and of course, I think also they don't have the resources we've got either. Though they've got the internet. I say they don't have the internet. Say they don't have the resources, and then I think about the internet. He's a pastor. He has the internet, but he may be representing, I don't know, some of these pastors over in areas like that pastor one church. I think many of them are a lot of times lead pastors over another dozen churches, and they've got interim pastors underneath them that take care of the church in between their times being there. And he may be the only one, or the ones contacting me may be the only one with internet access. The others may not have it.
Could be. Yeah. No, but I agree. I agree with all that. I think there is a different hunger, a different sincerity, and it's sad for me to say this, and I point the finger at myself. I think we're just too comfortable here.
I think so. I think
You know what
so.
I'm saying? That we've, um, I mean, for the most part, we believers here have not had to fear, attending a gathering, going to church, a conference, a seminar, a revival. We have the freedom to worship, and even the freedom to worship being restricted during COVID. Um, I think that was the first kind of like impact that we felt maybe large scale here. And most people operated within those constructs, and we were able to, churches moved to online pretty quickly. Now, what surprised me is after the churches reversed that, how many people didn't revert going back to church.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that took a lot of people out of church. And
Yeah,
you're right. And the sad note is even the pastors, down in Florida, I'm aware of two churches in our general, not just our town, but that whole general area. I know of two churches that stayed open. And as far as I know, there may be in others, but I'm only aware of those two. All the others, as far as I know, closed up. And I think that was kind of the norm across the nation.
it was. Well, and Florida was the state that would have supported churches staying open. I mean, like here in Illinois, I mean, that wasn't even an option.
Hmm.
You know, you had, um, and even restaurants, even though they said if they followed all the guidelines, um, I know the owner, of a pretty decent restaurant here, and she said that the police came and hassled her while they actually had customers in the restaurant, and that it dropped off after that. And she said that happened two times, and she said even though I was doing everything that by state law and the CDC had put out in terms of food prep, cleaning, distancing, all of that, that the police here hassled them to close.
Yeah.
So
I can believe that. And I don't know what went on here in my state because I was down in Florida at that time when this was going on. So I'm very aware of what took place there. But yeah, I think it was a wake up call for America. I believe the bulk of our citizens in the country now would probably fight this much more if they tried to ever do something like that again. I don't think they'd get near the cooperation they got the first time.
I agree. I agree. I think it was in large a grand experiment, and basically what it did was awakened people, and I do think it would be harder going forward. I agree with that.
I think it did. I think it awakened people and they kind of shot themselves in the foot. But on this flip side of that, it's a lot like when 9/11 hit and the planes flew into the towers. You had all this rally around America, rally around the flag, but you
Yeah.
wait and years later, that's all gone. And
Yep.
I think we have the same thing with this. We're only, what, 5 years or 4 years removed from COVID, and you add another 15 years onto that, and I'm not sure it wouldn't be a drastically worse reaction than we had this past time.
Yep. No, I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that.